Vigilante Williamson here with the 11th episode of my show, The Vigilante Williamson Show. It is November 19th, Thursday, November 19th, at least for now. It's about 11, a few minutes to 11. Hope everyone's having a blessed evening. Thanksgiving is coming up. And of course, there's tons of restrictions and tons of crap about that. We're going to get into a little bit of that this episode. Got a lot to get into with this episode. I didn't really put the tags and everything like I usually do. I'm not sure if it matters, especially for a channel as small as mine. We got a lot to get into. We have to talk about the election. I haven't talked about it since. It took about 2 weeks. It wasn't really a break because it took me a long time to do the last video I did, a 007 video. So I moved the mic. That took quite a bit of time because I'm bad at editing and I'm trying to do different formats. And I told myself after the election I was going to just kind of chill out because politics are not good, especially with everything that's going on, which we will get into. And we'll also talk about a lot of things going on in Hollywood. But first, before we get into any of that, we are going to start off, not to be selfish, but with YouTube and their new monetization scheme. And yes, let's hope I don't dox myself. I'm in my own Vigilante Williamson email. Let me move myself properly. Trying to move myself. There we go. The main thing is they have a terms of service change. I'm sure a lot of you have heard about it. So I am monetized. I just will not be receiving any money. YouTube's right to monetize. YouTube has the right to monetize all content on the platform, and ads may appear on videos from channels not in the YouTube partner program. Consider this the Mr. Obvious Josiah Rises rule where, hey, we just took away your ability to make money, but we still want to make money off your content since you're going to still make content. So yeah, that's what this is. And if you noticed, YouTube, I'm not sure about you, even though they've actually suppressed some of my videos, they suppressed my Kyle Rittenhouse video. They want me to pay for a subscription to YouTube TV. And I'm sure you've gotten commercials or whatever on your app or on your desktop to pay for YouTube TV. You know, if you don't suppress your creators, if you don't, and I'm not just talking about me, I've only been at this for months, but ever since I've been watching YouTube, I mean, even before the ad apocalypse, and of course after it, they've always suppressed creators, especially those who have an anti-corporate slight, or even who are just accurately critical of a big corporate partner. And as a result, they've lessened what they are as a core product, and they are in need of money because servers aren't cheap. So on some level, I understand wanting to monetize small channels like mine who are not going to generate that much money and just say, hey, let's get something out of these channels. But giving us nothing, like, listen, okay, if you want to have like the partner program be because right now as it stands, if I were to get to 1,000 hours and 1,000 subscribers, 4,000 watch hours, and apparently, not enough wrong speak, because who knows if I'll be able to do that. If I'm able to do that, I can be monetized, right? Keep that same threshold, but everyone under that threshold, give them a small percentage and only pay out after a certain point. That's something they could do. Now, hey, there's an issue with the bookkeeping for every channel, and because they have thousands of channels a day, that can get exhausting. I get that, but making money off of there's a lot of channels in that 400 to 1,000 range that get pretty good traction. You know what I mean? And to make money off of them and not give them anything, that doesn't seem fair. I think they should give the creators a bone if they're going to do something like that. Maybe lower the threshold to 500 and 2,000 watch hours. You know what I mean? So it's like, okay, it's a little bit easier to get monetized as a result, which still wouldn't solve the whole problem, but that would be something. But that's not what's going to happen. And again, YouTube, you've been suppressing your creators for a while because of because sometimes not even wrong think. You go against the corporate narrative. It's wrong. And speaking of the corporate narrative, we're going to get into this election, but YouTube, you've done that to yourself. You go woke you go broke, and that's really what's happened. They suppressed Crowder. Like I said, it's the Josiah Rises, Mr. Obvious rule. They've suppressed and shadow banned Hive Mind. They took down the Tim Pool, AJ Styles podcast. They keep suppressing, and they've been doing this for years and years and years. They keep suppressing creators who they don't like, even though, newsflash, half of the country, feels a certain type of way about politics. I'm actually neutral, believe it or not. We're in the center, but just things have gotten so crazy that I probably sound like a alt-right Yahtzee to these people, especially when I go into this. But YouTube, you did that to yourself. You did that to yourself, and now you're taking it off of small creators. And someone like me, I really want to get better first before I get more exposure. But there are creators that I like that have not made it to that monetized point that get decent traction. Just for them to be monetized for YouTube and no one else is not cool. So we'll see. So shout out to J Theory, shout out to Wes Moody, because those are two who I just think of offhand. Okay, I watch these creators, and I'm not even sure. I'm not sure if they're each. I know Wes Moody's not, because he doesn't have 1,000, but I'm not sure if Jane Theory is monetized, and she's great. So watch her channel. If somehow you don't know who their channels are and who they are, please watch them. So as I had this channel up, or not this channel, excuse me, as I had this up, it is time to get into the election. So first I want to talk about, I got what I wanted out of my vote. I pissed off a bunch of leftists because apparently I'm a traitor to my race because I don't want permanent lockdowns and oppressive socialism. Because, I voted for Trump mainly to piss off leftists. I actually predicted Harris would win. And that so far is the case. We'll see how everything turns out in court, and I'll get into some of the stories. I predicted Harris would win, but I really wanted to get my money's worth as a vote. And I pissed off crazy leftists like Jamel Hill, who called every black person who voted for Biden racist. And Van Jones was crying because the segregationist who didn't want his kids to go to school jungle. I forgot what the quote was, something about jungle. Van Jones was crying. So I got my money's worth. Even without Trump, if Trump doesn't win, I got my money's worth as a black voter for pissing off the leftists. But there's a lot still going on. The presidency has not been decided. And even the FEC chairman debunks the mainstream claims of no fraud. He says the counting of illegal votes can make the election illegitimate. This happened actually last week, where the chairman of the FEC, Trey Traynor, said the reports of fraud at key battleground states are credible. In a recent interview, he pointed out that Democrat officials removing the GOP poll watchers from the polling locations is a violation of state law and federal court orders. When you have claims of 10,000 people who don't live in the state of Nevada having voted in Nevada, you gotta get the spelling right. Come on, man. OAN. You have the video. They're poll workers either duplicating spoiled ballot there, or they're in the process of marking a ballot that came in blank vote. Trader explained. FEC chief added he agrees with Trump campaign lawyers. Blah, blah, blah. Okay. So this is what OAN, who couldn't even spell, I love. Well, I don't know if I love. I listen to all news sources. But of course, Daily Beast, more mainstream platform, he's on the Trump Kool-Aid. He's the nation's top election official has overdosed on the Trump Kool-Aid. Why is he overdosed on the Trump Kool-Aid? Because in the greatest city of God Green, I've received me with the Pistons. Hey, I'm going to talk about my team. A little happy about them later. But the city of Coleman Young doing pictures with Maserati Rick, may he rest in peace. They both rest in peace. City of Kwame Kilpatrick. In my city, they did not allow GOP observers to watch the votes counted. And they did the same thing in Philadelphia. That is not an opinion. That is not a QAnon conspiracy theory. That is a fact. That is a statement of what happened. That in and of itself is something to logically raise suspicion. But because this country is determined to become a banana republic and become North Korea, our state-sponsored media is gaslighting us into questioning anything. Now, again, I still think Harris is going to pull this out because everything has been set up for her to do so. But we have a right, because this is, supposed to be, it's a republic, but we're supposed to vote on our representatives, and our vote is supposed to count and matter towards our electors. And we'll see how everything goes. But we have the right to question things. I saw on Crowder, and I didn't have time. I should have checked it. I meant to. But he had claimed 170,000 votes in Wayne County. The county I was born in is Detroit. But 170,000 votes that belong to unregistered voters counted. So we have to talk about that. Should have did these in a different order. Because the Republicans in Wayne County, and sometimes I can call them Republicans, but I'll call them Republicans for this, they rescinded their votes, if this matters. Because I've heard some people say that their vote already counts, and they rescinded it. And I'll actually show you why, the specifics. But they rescinded certifying results. In affidavits, the GOP canvass board members claim they were bullied and say there are too many irregularities in Detroit's vote to accepting results. And let's actually see the bullying. Let's see what they were talking about. And this is really happening. And there's a video out that's kind of expanding this. There's a huge balkanization. There's a huge race thing. I started this channel to initially stop a race war. It's too late. Stop a race war, stop a civil war, stop a world war. At least we can de-escalate from those, at least try. But this is what happened. This is what someone got doxxed. They doxed someone's children and threatened them informally. A Democratic Michigan State Representative-elect doxed the chairwoman of Wayne County Board of Canvasser on a public Zoom meeting on Tuesday, revealing where her children attend school and claiming she was enabling racism by refusing to certify the Wayne County election. There's another thing that's going on. They've successfully associated racism with conservatism, but here we go. You, Miss Monica Palmer from Grosse Pointe Woods, which has a history of racism, that is true, Grosse Pointe Woods does, are deciding to enable and continue to perpetuate the racist history of this country by wanting a fair election, of course. And I want you to think about what that means for your kids. A name dropped to school talking about the impact the decision will have on their black classmates. So basically, on a Zoom call, you have a part of the Wayne County Board of Canvassers doxing a chairwoman, a Michigan State Representative-elect doxing a chairwoman on the Wayne County Board of Canvassers, talking about, well, your kids go to school and they're going to hurt all the black kids. They're basically trying to threaten their children. But again, they're drinking Kool-Aid for saying there are irregularities. So yeah, that's the election. Again, it always comes back to my home city. And there's more. Here's the notes, trusty, handy dandy notebook. Let's see. So I want to talk also on the fallouts. ALC, they move me back to the middle where we all belong, right? ALC wants to cancel anyone who worked for Trump, right? But it's going to, you almost get the feeling that it's going to go down to anyone who votes for Trump or anyone who supports Trump. They're trying to associate conservatism with racism. If you are a black person who doesn't want to live under the same party as the KKK, and I know these are Democratic talking points, these are the same, not Democratic, they're Republican talking points. It keeps repeating these talking points. Like the Republican Party had nothing to do with that Iran-Contra affair. That's a whole different story. But because I don't want to associate with this party, because I don't want to associate with the party that Malcolm X called the most dangerous people on earth, because I don't want to do that, I don't want to accept critical race theory that tells the world that I am lesser than, and that anyone with less melanin than me is more privileged. All this crazy, divisive, balkanistic language that is become normal, and there's a sick video out about it, which I don't know if I'll cover. Maybe I'll do. I'm not gonna do it on this podcast. But because I don't co-sign that, I'm racist. Like I said in the intro about Jamel Hill, there are other people saying the same thing. Any black man, any Latino that voted against the Democratic Party, you're a traitor to your race because you didn't do what we say. They're really trying to push that. You don't vote for the Democratic Party, you're a wrong thinker and you need to be ostracized and chastised and taken away from society. You're not supposed to talk about any of these talking points. You must be a right-wing conspiracy theorist. You're talking about this election. There are irregularities. Get out of here. We need to cancel anyone who's trying to help Trump kill our democracy, or whatever that fat lady said in that damn viral video. She said, you're hurting our democracy. These people need to be canceled. They need to be rounded up in the gulag by AOC. By the way, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, whatever her name is, I butchered it. I'm sure that makes you racist, even though I actually think I'm part Dominican. I'm part of everything, right? She's the most dangerous woman on earth. And I mean that with no joke, no exaggeration, no nothing. She is the most dangerous woman on this planet, bar none, because she has a charisma to her. That's why she has so many followers. That's why she'll always win her district. I've heard people say, oh yeah, she'll always win her district because of how many Democrats are in it, and that's fair enough. And we'll actually talk about, because she doesn't know she wants to be in politics, which let's hope to God that this is true. Because will she win higher office? Listen, when she did that damn stream of Among Us and got 500K on Twitch, I realized she's a force to be reckoned with, because there are people who will listen to her and follow her off a cliff. Trump is famous for saying, I can forget what street in New York or whatever it was, but if he shot somebody, he would still get elected. Or I don't know. That's probably not even a real quote. I heard that sometimes. Probably one of those fake quotes. Even if it's true, whatever it is, she can really do that as well. Or, if that quote is fake, then she can actually do it. Yeah. She, being Ocasio-Cortez, says she doesn't know if she wants to be in politics, and she feels that the odds of her running for higher office and the odds of her going off to start a homestead somewhere are probably the same. And this will be the biggest blessing for the country, because I think in the next 10 years, if she wants to be, she'll be the president of the People's Republic of America, or whatever the globalists decide to call us, because this is a globalist thing. We're stuck when we get into these lockdowns, which I'll talk about a little bit too. She doesn't know she wants to be in politics. Let's hope she doesn't, because they're talking some crazy stuff. And quite frankly, and I say this not just as a troll, I don't agree with this person's politics. She's on the evil waifu list with future President Harris and I forgot what's her name, Kristen Sawant out of Seattle, I think it is. She's the city councilwoman. They're all the evil waifus. But in all seriousness, politics suck. Even just covering it stresses me the fuck out. I can imagine being a part of it. If you want to start the homestead, for goodness sake, start the homestead. I actually want to start a homestead myself in real life. So, I see this and I'm like, listen, Miss Cortez, if you're serious, don't go through with this politics thing. Don't get me wrong. There's nothing stopping you from being the emperor of the world. You have that Scarface ability to turn on Sosa as far as your handlers, right? Because you have that charisma. You can get a mob and become the emperor of the world. Cool. But do you really want that struggle? Really want those problems? Do you really, and I'm being dead serious, want to be, 10 years from now, there's a bunch of people in your face like President Cortez. You have to make this drastic decision. You have 5 seconds, 5 minutes to make this decision that's going to shape the free world for the future. What are you going to do? And you're going to be thinking, fuck, I should have been on that homestead. This shouldn't even be me. You could have been calling Ilhan like, girl, I don't know what you're going to do, but I'm chilling this homestead with my family. Instead, you're going to be in the hot seat. Do you really want that? And I'm sure you'll never see this video, but if by some chance you do see this clip, I mean this with all seriousness. And this goes for anyone in politics. This is not a race, gender. This is a human thing, because politics suck. They suck. Because you can be the president of the United States. You're the most you can be the most powerful person on earth. So I'm not knocking you. I'm not downing you. I'm not saying this even because I don't want it to happen just because I disagree with you. I'm saying this for anyone who's out there. If you have the chance to do a homestead, if that's what you truly want, you go for what you truly want in life. You don't go and, oh, well, I'll do it later. And, oh, I'll have to be in this corporate world. And that's what the government is. It's another corporation. And soon it might be the only one, but that's another story. Oh, I'll do this later. I'll come back to the homestead. It may not be later. You may be knee deep in BS. 10 years from now, you're like, damn, I should have took the homestead. I'm the president of the United States. I'll be happier on the homestead. So let's hope she chooses that. I doubt it, because she's trying to toss us all in the gulag, unfortunately. And that's a dangerous precedent. And I talked about this racist, this white people are like, video. That video's pretty effed up, man. I wouldn't want to see a video about us like that. I don't think people should be making videos like that, but that's how it's going. And what are we doing? Oh, yeah. I meant to talk about this Naomi Wolf person who, if she knew Biden was open to lockdowns, she would have never voted for him. So let me stay hydrated before I die. Hydrate or die. So, people, you have to do your research when you vote. Everyone who voted for Biden, you get what you voted for. You didn't know he was for lockdowns. Did you know he was for socialism? Did you know he's for telling your kids, I'm assuming this person is white unless she's doing the Rachel Dolezal thing, telling your kids that they're evil and they're racist just because they're white, and telling people who look like me that they're lesser than just because they're not white. Are you cool with that? Did you know he was for that? Did you know he was for socialism? Did you know that these lockdowns are never going to end because we got Biden? But Orange Man's bad. And, you know, there's nothing wrong with having your little crying keck memes, even though I think they've turned keck into a white supremacist thing, because they've turned everything conservative. Anything conservative, no matter how logical it is, and hell, it doesn't even have to be traditionally conservative. Anything the left of socialism is racist, clearly. But did you know that's what you voted for? Did you know you didn't really vote for Biden? You know you voted for Kamala Harris. That's why I've mentioned Harris. It's the Harris administration. I'm not even going to take Biden seriously. There's no point. Let's stop wasting our time. Did you know you voted for that? Because that's what you brought to this world. Did you know you voted for the end of democracy, right? Because the same thing that happened to Bernie twice, it just happened to Trump. But the funniness with the elections, the funniness with the ballots, and of course the mainstream media tells you, you know, look over there, there's nothing to see here, don't be a right-wing nut. Did you know you voted for the end of civil discourse, the end of free speech? Did you know you voted for that? I doubt it. You voted for Orange Man bad. You're going to get exactly what you asked for. This goes for Naomi Wolf. This goes for everyone. And this is not sour grapes or anything. I'm not a diehard. I call them Republicans. I'm not a diehard Republican. I'm not a politic guy. I have my political beliefs. There's things I want, but I was not going to get that from either candidate. But I know what I was going to get from the left. That was the potential anti-capitalism. Because these lockdowns have to stop for the human condition, right? They're destructive to the human condition. They'll tell you believe the science, but when the WHO, the corrupt WHO, the crooked China WHO, even they say, hey, lockdown should not be your primary method of stopping this virus. But anyone who's against lockdowns, they're idiots. They should believe the science. Well, the science is not actually telling you to do lockdowns. That's not what the science is telling you. The science is telling you that lockdowns are killing people in different ways. And the longer they go on, the worse they get on. The worse people get. That's what the science is telling you. Believe the science, and I said this in a super chat on your Ripper stream. Shout out to him. Believe the science is the new weapons of mass destruction. And it doesn't include science. Just like the weapons of mass destruction didn't exist. And speaking of Young Ripper, he did a video where he showed that and when I clip this out, I'll probably intersect the charts. But he shows all these different places and the spike in cases after mask mandates. The mask did not solve everything. And they will never admit that they're wrong, because this isn't the point of being wrong or right. The point is what's going on with Ticketmaster with, you got to be vaccinated before you can go to a show. You're going to have to be vaccinated and keep your vaccinations up to date, because COVID-20 is coming, and COVID-21 and 22. And everything is going to be coming. The whole Great Reset is coming. Going to have to keep your vaccinations up to date, don't you know? And don't worry about your business, because you'll be 100% employed by the state government, don't you know? That's what you voted for. And we'll never, the Republicans, they still have the Senate, and but the Republicans are going to bend over like they always do. They're going to turn on Trump because they don't want to get sent to the gulag. They're going to give up your guns. They're going to keep telling you to back the police, who are not going to even enforce orders to count votes. And you're going to keep, they may have the House and the... No, they don't. They're done. They're done. They don't care to be done, just like Bernie didn't care. But they're done. They're toast. Because the Republican Party was just the Orange Man Party. They have nothing without him. They're just going to be the Washington Generals for the next 100 years. Because we're not going to get any fair elections. They're going to get rid of the Electoral College. So California and the 17-year-olds are going to decide the elections from now on for the whole country. They're going to make D.C. a state, so they'll get more votes and more senates, more people, more senators. They're going to pack the court. And they're going to take over as the predominant one-party system for the rest of the People's Republic of America's existence. And I'm not being blackpilled. I'm just letting you know what you voted for, Naomi Wolf. I'm just letting you know what you voted for. Everybody who voted, and you know what? Listen, I'm not even downing you, right? Because it was coming regardless, one way or another. You just sped it up. But socialism is coming for everybody. And that's what you voted for, Miss Wolf. So thank you. Thank you for nothing. Okay. So let's talk about the end of Hollywood. The end of entertainment. I'm talking about two companies. Warner Media, AT&T/Warner Media, and Disney. They're laying off everyone. They're laying off, this is 28,000 employees. This is a quarter ago, almost. Laying off people from the theme parks. If you notice, these layoffs for both of these companies, they already had a set, and they have more. Why? Because it's a new quarter. They have a new quarter to go to investors to show how much they've earned or lost. Disney lost $5 billion. $5 billion. Remember Live in Color? Because I was watching that recently, or clips of it, because I was doing research for my video. Ooh, excuse me, heartburn. Not heartburn, but I don't know. But I was doing research for my video. I actually ended up not using any in Live in Color clips. But I'll check out my video talking about the 007 thing and the race and why representation hurts representation. But I watched the Live in Color, but good Lord, that's a lot of money. $5 billion lost. And that's after doing all the Disney food with the books, cooking the books. Allegedly. Everything I say is alleged, right? To keep myself protected. I'm not trying to steal anyone's gimmick by saying allegedly. I'm just trying to protect myself. But $5 billion lost this year after cooking the books, after doing whatever, layoffs after quarter. Yeah, we're still talking about potential stories and movies and TV shows. And we're also going to get into Wonder Woman killing the blockbuster dead. I talked about No Time to Die, putting the first bullets into the blockbuster. It's dead after Wonder Woman. And they're still trying to greenlight things. Here's the truth of any piece of entertainment you heard that's not already in production currently, there's no guarantee it will get made. None. Zero. I don't care, because there's too little money, and they're doing this each quarter. You understand that? It's not like, okay, we had one thing of layoffs, we had one run of layoffs, that's it. It's like, okay, we did the one run for this quarter, we're going to need another one next quarter, we're going to need another one next quarter. We don't know how bad it's going to get. DC Comics may be offline completely. Look at this. Disney laid off 28,000 employees for the pandemic. ESPN, more employees laid off. I saw Bob Lee complaining. I saw Katie Nolan complaining. I saw Dan Le Batard complaining his producer was cut out without him knowing. Well, yeah. You go woke, you go broke. The die whom goes woketh shall goes broketh. You knew the rules, you knew the laws of the land, and you didn't care. You didn't care how many people you cut off. They were the deplorables. They didn't matter. And you pushed away so many people. This is 500 jobs. 200 were open positions, granted. But 500 jobs gone, 300 current employees, 200 open positions. And apparently, if you add that with everyone who's been lost over the past 5 years, you have 1,000 subtracted jobs. Again, 200 open positions, they're not actual filled jobs. But that's 800 subtracted jobs, 200 open positions, 1,000 jobs away from ESPN. I actually knew people who worked at ESPN. They were behind the scenes, camera, stuff like that. Even people who won Emmys and stuff, right? I actually need to check and see what's going on with them, because I don't know if they still work there, right? It's been a while. But this is talking about the story of Chris Cope, producer and contributor for Dan Le Batard. He was amongst the cuts. And, you know, I don't agree with Le Batard politically. He did the stand-up thing and hired him on, or is attempting to hire him on, but he may not be long for the company. And quite frankly, a lot of people, like in his position, you see the Outkick thing right here next to me. You see Clay Travis. Maybe Le Batard needs to do the Clay Travis thing and go independent. I think a lot of people are going to go independent, including, I talked about the thing with YouTube. Someone like me who probably will never get monetized, even if I were to meet their threshold, that will be my role, to use YouTube as a way of getting people to my own platform. And maybe a subscribe star or something like that. So you already have, if you're Dan Le Batard, some of these bigger platforms, bigger people, even people who haven't left but see their shows maybe going the wrong way, they can just leave and get their own platform. Or, you know, as people are getting cut left and right. At ESPN, Marvel's Avengers lost 46 million, or between 46 and 63. I heard all sorts of quotes of what it potentially lost. And it was a botch. You know why Marvel's Avenger was a botch? It was many reasons. Mainly bugs. Let's be honest. It was mainly bugs. I'm not going to only blame this woman, but it was Huma Aberdeen's cousin. My dog is, hopefully my dog is just my dog, and I'm not about to get broken in by the feds. But Huma Aberdeen's cousin, Sana Amanat. Huma Aberdeen, of course, the aide to Hillary Clinton, a husband to Weiner, if you remember, who likes sending pictures to underage people, but that's neither here nor there. That cousin, Sana Amanat, works for Marvel, has a self-insert named Miss Marvel. And she was pushed as the main character of this game. They have a TV show coming out, and there was a huge push behind Miss Marvel. And anyone who actually kind of played the game or watched people play the game, I never bought it. I thought about it, but I kept watching streams of it. Actually, Young Ripper, as I mentioned before. And the game had potential, but didn't look good. One of the many things was this should have had a creative character, and it looks like it was set up to have a creative character, and that's not what happened. Instead, we had to push Ms. Marvel because it's Sana Amanaz self-insert, so we pushed her, and we got a show coming, and we had a game that could have been a huge hit bomb. It also came out too early. It should have been a live beta still. Should still be a live beta, be releasing next year. That would be best for this game, but that's not what happened. Rush, and now they lost a lot of money. This company doesn't know what it's doing. And again, first annual loss in 40 years, $5 billion loss. And really, you can almost double it, or at least add half to it, because you know they did funny things with the books. They had to cut a lot of people. They had to fire a lot of people. Thousands and thousands of fired between the past couple quarters. Even, here's another thing people need to remember. The last good quarter was a disappointment. That's what people forget. The fall of Soywoker was a huge disappointment, and the stockholders were pissed on that call right as things started to lock down. That's when the call was had, and they were pissed. So this was not a good year for Disney. Yet there's still rumors, hey, Hugh Jackman may be in the MCU, which they don't know if he's going to be Wolverine or Kraven or a different character or whatever. And I'm excited. I would love to see Hugh Jackman in the MCU. Mainly as a cameo as Wolverine. I don't want to see him as a different character, and I don't really want to see him as the core Wolverine, but that's neither here nor there. We're talking about this, and of course this Leslie Headpiece, Harvey Weinstein's own. Leslie Headland has her female-centric show, so we also got two ends of the spectrum going. But is any of this going to happen with a company losing $5 billion? Is anything that's not being shot really greenlit? Even things that are greenlit, when a company's losing $5 billion, when they are probably, the most logical thing would be to sell ESPN. Sell ESPN, sell off a lot of assets that they bought that are costing them, they're giving them nothing in profit. They have to. So if that's the case, who knows how much MCU? Now, granted, the MCU is one of the big things they have to do. They got WandaVision, they got the Winter Soldier and Falcon thing going on. They have Black Widow coming out. They have a lot of stuff of the MCU and Star Wars, of course. These are their main franchises. They have to spend some money to make money. It takes money to make money. But anything can be canceled. I reviewed The Mandalorian. There's probably a spinoff with Katie Sackhoff coming. And that would be cool if it is. But nothing can be guaranteed in this climate. Nothing can be. I want to see a new, like I said, I don't know if he should be the base Wolverine. He's in his 50s. He's been ageless. But seeing a cameo would be cool if he's in that Marvel universe. But who knows what's for the Marvel universe. Hope to God this gets canceled. This Leslie Headpiece thing. She's another anti-white person. It's funny. The most racism you'll see is black people calling each other coons because I voted for the anti-lockdowns. I actually didn't want lockdowns to be the new normal, and I actually wanted capitalism. Excuse me. And you see white people who hate white people. She said famously white girls need to step up, or white women need to step up, which she didn't step up for all the women who Harvey Weinstein had his way with, even though she was his assistant in defending him even when he was on trial, Miss Hedlund. But she knows where the bodies are buried, so she'll get what she wants in Hollywood. That's how that goes. And this is not the only company. You see Warner Media beginning a critical wave of layoffs. And Ethan Van Sciver, EVS himself, has a source that says DC will cease to be in June of 2021. There will no longer be a DC Comics. It's a rumor, but that's crazy. Superman is the oldest comic superhero. The beginning of comic books as we think of them as far as American superhero comics. And that company being dead by June of next year. Don't blame this all on the virus. If you don't like my politics, don't buy my books. We fucking listen, bitch. Now, no one will buy these books. Now, hopefully, these characters can be licensed off. Wouldn't that be great for the comics gators to get their hands on some of these great characters? I've always wanted to write a Batman story. I think everybody wants to write a Batman story, right? But I have my own Batman story. I have stories really for a few characters I would love to write, right? If I could crowdfund a DC comic character or DC characters, maybe apply for a license and give them a piece, but still be able to keep. If something like that comes out, this could actually be a positive long term if they're that creative, if they're willing to work with people, which I doubt it, because remember, if you don't like my politics, don't buy my books. Remember that? And it's all, I mean, if you follow the comic book industry, it's one big, oh my God, it's the most polarized industry. It's really the origin of what we see now with the Gulag talk from AOC, because they've been doing that for, the past 5 years, basically. But that's what it's gotten you, potentially dead. And speaking of Go Woke Goes Broke, never forget, no matter what happens with the Snyder Cut, that Warner Media is the company of CNN, the single most dangerous thing. You want to talk about the most dangerous thing to our democracy? It's been the mainstream media. They've destroyed this country with polarization and BS and lies. And what do they have to show for it? They're fucking for sale. So they destroyed this country. They didn't even fucking profit off of it. At least not to an extent to stay alive, because they're for sale. Now, granted, a lot of that has to do with AT&T, Warner, and their financial situation in general. They bought DirecTV, which was stupid, just like Disney bought Fox, which was stupid. And these decisions will kill them. But CNN is for sale. So go woke, go broke, DC, Warner Media, Disney, Hollywood. Go woke, go broke. Thy whom goes woketh shall goes broketh. Speaking of the end of Hollywood, we talked about No Time to Die again, selling the blockbuster short, even though HBO Max may pay for it, because Wonder Woman 1984 is coming to HBO Max for free. Well, not for free, you have to pay for it, but there's no extra charge on top of the monthly service. And for me, HBO Max needs to get on Roku. Until they get on Roku, it's killing. I may have to get it just for the channel, maybe write it off. Who knows? Who knows how the damn tax? Well, I guess taxes for this year will still be cool, but who knows how it will be long term. But anyways, Wonder Woman 1984, I'm excited for. Just heard potential rumors that scared the hell out of me about this movie. I was one of the people who was really excited. I actually thought that, not that people were saying ghosts with the Orange Man thing, but that Maxwell Lord was going to be more of a Tony Robbins character with a you can do what you want sort of thing, but apparently it is going to be Orange Man bad. In any event, yeah, it's going to come to theaters, but it's going to come to HBO Max. It'll be international theaters, I think, a week before. Let's actually see. Let's go into the article. I've been skimming through it to get through so these aren't forever streams, because I've gone 2 hours before I got to cut that out. The superhero film will debut on December 16th, then become available on HBO streaming service 9 days later on Christmas or Sun God Day, whatever. Let's see. And then it'll be available for a month on HBO Max. This is a very convoluted release thing, because actually it'll be back in theaters, I think. Very convoluted. And this was pushed back. This could have came out last year when it was nice and safe, but they were scared of the fall of Skywalker. Can you believe that? And as a result, this movie has now coming a year late. This is going to be your first thing to push HBO Max. HBO Lax, we'll see. But HBO Max is not on Roku. HBO Max also has no follow-up after this, at least with, Disney Plus. They have The Mandalorian, but then they have, WandaVision coming right after that. I don't know if they have a follow-up. This is a kind of a shock thing. And more importantly, this is the end. This is the death blow for theaters. Theaters are done. The movie theaters are done. And granted, I have not been a big movie theater goer for a while. For a long while. outside of the tentpole stuff. The tentpole stuff. Outside of the Marvel movies, outside of the DC movies. It's just a reality. And I'm not the only one. And I was done at the end game. I'm not the only one. The last movie I saw was Joker, which I need to do a review about it because I actually didn't like it. I know the only person on earth who didn't like it, but I need to see it again before I do a review. But the theaters are done because if blockbusters like this are going to not come to theaters, they're done. And I can't help but wonder, with the rules about these companies owning theaters having changed, will that come into play? Granted, when asked to save these theaters, they laughed it off. But maybe if they're dirt cheap, or maybe come up with their own, maybe that's part of the plan, or just, get rid of theaters completely and just go into the new age, the Wall-E age. You know what I mean? And that's it. And it's sad. They let theaters go. They're in debt. They're probably going to get their homeboy Harris to bail them out, unfortunately, these big companies. And it's like, is anything going to be made? And, there were some cool stories I wanted to talk about with some of the stuff that we do know is going to happen. As far as Ben Affleck, there's talk about him doing a series. I don't know if that's going to happen. But we know he's going to appear in the new Justice League. They just did a new trailer, which is basically a grayscaled version of the original trailer. Jared Leto, which I don't like. But they're going to change his look for the new Justice League. I'm not a fan. This is going to happen, but is Justice League 2 going to happen? I don't think so. But apparently, Wonder Girl is. This is someone from Future State. This damn comic isn't even out. But the CW is going to have a Wonder Girl TV series focusing on Brazilian Wonder Woman, Yara Flor. The comic isn't even out, but they can't help but to get woke. The company of CNN, the company of, if you don't like my politics, don't buy my books, can't help but to put this woke virtue signal out the second they can. The second they can. They can't help it. And of course, you don't like representation. I talked about how representation hurts representation. But you don't like representation, you must hate your race. You must hate yourself. Obviously, clearly. You don't want original things of your own. How dare you want original things of your own? How dare you want Meteor Man? Which I want a Meteor Man reboot. Shit. Shout out to Robert Townsend. But no, they're doing this. They're able to do this. They'll bring this guy back. Who knows what else we get? Who knows what's going to happen with the Batman? I would like to think that's still going to come out. Probably to HBO Max. They're spending a lot of money. They spent money on this like this is going to be a big budget theatrical release. And the theater's not going to be around by the time that movie comes out. So what's going to happen with that? There's talks about the series, actually. I didn't have it up. But they had a series for the, like a spinoff series. Somebody on that's already left. What's going to happen with any of the creative projects with these companies going forward? What's going to happen with these companies going forward? Let's say the homeboy Harris doesn't give them the bailout. Let's hope they don't, because it is our money, believe it or not. We actually do have a say in this government. Even though it's going to be taken away, because that's what you voted for, but I digress. What is going to happen to the future of DC Comics? Is it going to be out of business? What is going to happen to the future of Marvel Comics? Is it going to follow suit? What is going to happen to the future of not just superhero media, but all of the properties that these companies own, down to Disney owning ESPN Sports? What's going to happen to sports in general? I was talking about on the, I don't know if I should plug it or not, but the member stream, I was so happy it was my first member stream with Gary and Neurotic. Shout out to Neurotic. It was a little bit of a sports talk, and I never got my point in, but I wondered, these companies, these franchises, sports franchises, they were always able to sell off to another owner somewhere else. Are they still going to be able to do that? What's going to happen to a lot of these sports franchises? What's going to happen to sports in general? That ESPN, as much damage as the wokeness has gotten to sports, even though I want to do a video, and I will do a video on why the NBA is still going to be okay, or can still be okay at least. But what's going to happen to all these companies? All who have gotten in this, not just the go woke, go broke, but COVID has affected it. COVID has accelerated all these things. And the way the media has treated the people has antagonized them, because both Warner and Disney own media companies who have spent a lot of time, money, and effort antagonizing and balkanizing the people with CNN and ESPN. And now both could potentially be sold. Who knows? Maybe Jeff Bezos buys both of them. I know he's linked to CNN, one of the Emperor Palpatines of the world. Who knows? Who knows? He'll ask CNN and the Washington Post. He'll basically be the villain from Tomorrow Never Dies in real life, which they are already living. We're already living Tomorrow Never Dies, because the media can change the definition of words in a day if they so choose. Because this is North Korea. I mean, the People's Republic of America. At least for now. They're not busting through the doors yet. It's not Australia yet, which is apparently part of the free world, supposedly. But who knows what's going to happen to these companies. But if we don't want to be all black-pilled and doom and gloom, we want to get into some positive news. I meant to start with the Pistons, but the Q kid's up, so we're going to start some actual positive news, and then some news I consider positive. Then we're going to close out the stream. And it's just a good story. It's actually kind of hard to find positive news. So much is politicized. But when you find something that anyone and everyone can like, this is a Best Buy's employees going above and beyond for a boy with autism. Because I like ending with a positive spin, because no matter how dark the world is, you got to remember there are still cool people doing cool things. So, at words can I express my appreciation for Best Buy and its Fort Wayne store. Erica Buchholz said in a Facebook post, Parker's goals someday work for Best Buy. Parker has autism and has always been a huge fan of anything that involves electronics. He loves TVs, DVDs, computers, anything about the store, everything about the store. And this is cool. Buchholz said she emailed the store asking if she could buy a shirt from them for Parker to wear on Halloween. They said yes, but only if they can make a night of it. And so this is what they did. 3 staff members, Israel Molinaire, Jennifer Bow, and Tristan Wilkinson, stood waiting for Parker to arrive. When he arrived, they gave Parker his own personal shirt and name tag and let him pick out whatever he wanted, then have him scan everything because he was the worker. Oh, wow, this is so cool. So he basically let him go on the shopping spree. Buchholz posted a series of photos on Facebook showing the staff helping Parker and letting him scan his own stuff. That's cool. And this is them outside, and this is all the cool stuff we got. Christmas came a little early from this boy, and we are forever grateful for the memories made tonight. That is a awesome story. That's why I like ending with positive stories. Shout out to Best Buy. Shout out to the workers at Best Buy. That was really dope of them. That's a cool sort of. So there's no comment, but these are the positive stories I like talking about. I wanted to end with this, but I unfortunately had that up, and he looked so cute. I just had to do the story first. But shout out to Parker, Erica Buchholz. Shout out to that Best Buy in Fort Wayne. Shout out to the Midwest. Speaking of Fort Wayne, it's funny that would be the city, because Fort Wayne, as any sports fan knows, it's the origin. I'm screwing you up. I'm looking for Fort Wayne. I'm scrolling so fast. Where is it? I'm sure. There it is. Fort Wayne store. I'm sure somebody's watching this in the back and it's just like, oh my God, I'm dizzy because I'm blind. Looking for Fort Wayne. Why am I looking for Fort Wayne? Because they are the origin of the greatest sports franchise of all time, the Detroit Pistons. And this was going to be my secondary positive news. But it's positive news for me, damn it. I've been a Pistons fan. I've been a Detroit sports fan for a long time. And the Pistons have not tried for over a decade and a half to do anything. We've wasted so many drafts. If you go through years of people we could have drafted, it's like a super team we could have made. But we didn't, because we didn't care and we sucked. Well, this year, the Pistons tried. They're putting an effort to try to put a team on the floor that's worth a damn. And I get it. The NBA is down. Make no mistake. The NBA is down. I will talk about it in a video sometime in the future. I don't really have a plan. I do want to do it, but I want to make all the things that can save the NBA. It can't save itself. It's going to take a lot of work, but it can be done. But the Pistons are finally, speaking of taking a lot of work, it's inspiring me because they are trying. They're putting their effort into winning. In a couple of weeks, when the Pistons players arrive for the first day of training camp, it's going to resemble the first day of new school. Even for the team's veteran players, there will be plenty of new faces on the court. Some of them will be meeting for the first time, and that's not just the rookies. A whirlwind day of dealing, climaxing Wednesdays, with Wednesday. Lord, I'm trying to get through this last story so I can go home, right? With Wednesday's NBA draft, Pistons general manager Troy Weaver has turned over more than half the roster that's finished the season. Ooh, excuse me, that was a root. Finished the last season, with a 20-46 record. It's been an extended summer vacation, and name tags may be needed for the newcomers. After Weaver made 5 trades this week, the longest tenured player on the Pistons is Blake Griffin, acquired a trade just in 2018. Only Griffin and Svi, and I always mess up his name, so I'm not going to try. It's just Svi, remain from the 2018-2019 roster. Excuse me. From last season's roster, only Griffin, Svi, Derrick Rose, and Sekou remain under contract. We'll see what they do with Christian Wood, because they have some cap room. With their pick in the draft, they got 19-year-old point guard Killian Hayes, which I'm hoping pans out. He looks like he could be a superstar. He could be a bust. Who knows? But I'm hoping he pans out. The trades set the stage for a wild week. He looks pretty good again. Puts me in mind of like D'Angelo Russell. Either D'Angelo Russell or he has a little bit of Devin Booker's mid-range with the floaters. But teams can negotiate with free agents this weekend but can't sign new deals until Sunday. Consensus is the Pistons need to reshape the roster with projected $30 million in cap space. The focus seemed to be on improving primarily through free agency with small moves in the draft, but that's not what happened. Weaver's strategy, it turns out to be invading all aspects of the offseason. It was important to me that we attack the draft. We're going to attack free agency. We're going to attack everything, Weaver said following the draft, which I love. This is going to be restoring 2 iterations of the great Pistons team. That was their mentality. They were aggressive and they were on the attack. And we want to follow suit. I love it. That's the mantra. Hopefully we'll continue to be aggressive and set the tone. Here's a breakdown of the moves that Weaver made this week, draft and trade. Let me see. The new additions on draft night included Hayes, as Weaver bypassed another top prospect, Tyrese Halliburton. Now let's see how this guy is. If Halliburton turns out, this is another fucking Donovan Mitchell situation like with Kennard. We trade away for one of these picks. I'll be so pissed, but we'll see. To get the player they wanted, reasoning, providing a glimpse of the profile that Weaver preferred and how the rest of the roster may be assembled. Now, another thing with this Hayes guy, him and Sekou played together in France, Des Trois. Of course, they're going to be called, if they pan out, it's going to be called Des Trois with these 2 French guys. Size and physicality. Hayes got great size. He's physical at the point of attack, offense and defense. So his size and physicality stood out. He is big, 6'5" at point guard. And then I love the other guys. Isaiah Stewart and this one, Sadiq Bey. He's going to be a 3-and-D potential Robert Covington type, maybe a little bit more. Saban Lee is also a pretty explosive guy who could be, who knows, one of those second rounders who can be impactful. We saw what happened with the Heat this year. Had a somebody who was undrafted and a first-round pick really be impactful and get themselves to the finals. It was, a weird year, but they got themselves to the finals with rookies and Jimmy Butler. Because the Pistons start this week with about $30 million in space salary cap, they're also able to take on some veterans in the trade with Trevor Ariza and the 16th pick and Rodney McGruder in the 19th pick. Weaver made another deal sending Snell and Kyrie Thomas to Atlanta Hawks for center Dwayne Dedmon, who's a nice, solid center. I like him. And they have free agency. So they cut into the cap space, and they're only going to have $9 million available. That's enough for a decent player. It maybe clear out some more cap space. So this is the last story for me. It's positive news for me, damn it. The Pistons are trying. The Pistons are putting forth the effort. Now, the NBA has a lot to do before they're watchable for the masses. And there are some fans that are never going to come back. I know that. But I'm happy about the Pistons. I'm happy that they're trying and they're putting forth effort. And that is going to end it for the show. I got into a lot of topics, got into an hour. So I want to thank you for, I did see that I had somebody watching live. So thank you for whoever watched live. If you're watching in this future, watching this in the future, thank you. If you like the video, please like the video, even if you didn't, or if you have something to say, let me know in the comments below. If you're so obliged to share and subscribe, please do. And even if you do none of these things, thank you for watching. Thank you for the time. God bless.